Jimmy had this dream once where he was hovering above the ground, and he passed many businesses until he came by a barber shop. Outside there was the infamous barber's signal, red, white, and blue spinning together like a lollipop, within a clear cylinder, topped and bottomed like a hanging light. Only it is not hanging but held by a piece of bar that connects to the brick building. Jimmy couldn't escape the thick scent of licorice and hairspray. On an old sign whose letters looked like the very old lettering, Think Gunsmoke, there were the words, Floyd the Barber. There was no one in the shop, just Floyd, one would guess, himself in his sky-blue frock and gray khakis, with his crazy left eye from taking too much, from behind thick glasses, and his razor beckoning endlessly, it would seem, in all of the mirrors and seats, of course, seats. Jimmy entered the doorless place where Floyd had been beckoning him, possibly using some sort of hypnosis or other to summon him over. Floyd's hair was immaculately unimpressive, not a hair out of place, but made to appear as if he awoke that way, very casual. And the same goes for his beard and much of his appearance, all except for his wild left eye and the corresponding eyebrow, which were arched reaching toward the outer left corner of his face. Here, I got you. He grabs onto Jimmy to stop the hovering and sets him down in the barber chair, where its magnets keep him down. With 2 fingers from each hand, he goes slowly from the middle of the black smock to the top outer corners. Floyd places the middle of it under Jimmy's chin, and wraps it over the bridge of his nose. The barber exposes different parts of his body to Jimmy's mouth, like a waiter serving samples. He asks him to lick, so to test the various trays. They all tasted more or less similar. Jimmy recognized the taste as somewhat like his pruned fingers when he stayed in the tub too long. Each of his reactions were rather indifferent. The barber stepped away for some moments. Jimmy started to feel uneasy in his chair. He started to look around to see if he could peek through the impossible smock. The barber rushed back over. Now, just wait one moment. We all have saved everything we have for this surprise. The voice didn't sound like Floyd's. It was familiar. He ripped the smock off of Jimmy, and in the mirror he could see it disappear into his arm. It was Jimmy's pappy, in the barber's costume, and in front of him, in the mirror, cheering at him as if he had done some amazing thing, was his entire family. His father's mother, in her hospital bed with that nasty scowl she always had. His father's brother, his thick red hair was balding. He wore sunglasses, a plain blue t-shirt, and some khaki pants. His mother, in a shining blue gown, was hovering like Jimmy had been earlier. Her father and mother were there. He was nude, but his penis was cut off, and for that, oddly enough, he had a much better body than he did in reality. She was clothed rather plainly, like she was ready for the office. She had the peculiar earrings hanging from her ears, and she wouldn't look at Jimmy or anyone, only at Grandpa, who looked like everyone else, was staring Jimmy's way, while they clapped and cheered. Grandma clapped, but did not cheer. And 2 of his mother's sisters, both of them were nude. They were well in their 60s, it looked like. They were quite beautiful. And Jimmy could sense there was something wrong, even though there wasn't. In whatever queer place this was, the fact that he could sense it made it so, even if it wasn't. He spotted what he was looking for in one of the mirror's reflections, in his mirror, which none of his family had obscured too much. He could see a darkened corridor with a green light that every character of importance in that other realm seemed to stop below, the 3rd realm. It's where capped men with giant Adam's apples popped their pills and dazed rock stars snorted things. It wasn't all that very long of watching the green light area, the third realm, that he could peer what it was that he was meant to peer. It was Floyd. That was where he had disappeared to, with his crazy eye, and he was still wearing the same barber's clothes that Jimmy's pap was wearing now, cheering and clapping for him in the barber shop. Except one thing, when he walked into the light, his eye wasn't crazy. It was just normal. He broke the fourth wall, if you will. He looked straight at little Jimmy Dean, surrounded by his supportive family, and he pulled some snuff or other from his cigarette pocket. "See?" he said to Jimmy, and snorted it without breaking his gaze. The eye slowly arched after, and Jimmy awoke in his bed, sweating.